Heidi-ho, Andrew here. Today I would like to teach you how to find the domain of the following rational function of x squared plus 4x minus 3, all being divided by x to the fourth minus 5x squared plus 4. So the first thing is, whenever you're trying to find the domain, you got to ask yourself the most important question. Are there any values of x that I cannot plug into this function, or that will make this function do some wacky things? So in order to answer that question, you want to analyze the numerator, then the denominator, and then the function overall. So in terms of the numerator function, there's no restrictions on x, right? You can plug in any value for x. You can make it negative 10, you can make it 0, you can make it positive 1,298,769, right? There really is no problem in terms of plugging in any x value there in the numerator. So right now I'm thinking all real numbers. Then I go to the denominator, and the same thing occurs to me. Right, the function that's down here in the denominator, there's really no issue just looking at this function alone about any x values. You can raise to the fourth any x value you want. You can square it. You can do the addition and subtraction. There's really no issues. Then when you look at the function overall, you're thinking, are there any problems with any numbers in a numerator or any numbers in a denominator? And that's where you come up with one possibility. Remember, you cannot have 0 in the denominator, because you can't divide 0 into any number, right? If I had 7 up here, what's 7 divided by 0? I don't know. How many times does nothing fit into 7? The answer is not nothing. The answer is basically an infinite amount of times, okay? I just don't know. I can't count it. So this is undefined, all right? That's undefined. So in other words, you cannot have 0 in the denominator overall, okay, for the overall function. So what I'm going to do is take the denominator then, and I'm asking myself, well, what in the world does x have to be then so that this thing becomes 0? I want to know the values that give a 0 value overall so that I can basically, I can basically identify those restrictions. So when you have a function like this, x to the fourth, x squared, and a constant, that's the same thing basically as a quadratic, right? You're going to solve this by doing the same process, except it's not going to be x and x here. It's going to be x squared and x squared. That's literally the only difference. Now what you're going to do is think of two numbers that multiply to 4, but yet that add to negative 5. So multiply to positive 4, but add to negative 5. And I'm like, oh, right, negative 4 and a negative 1, right? Negative 4, negative 1 are going to add to negative 5, but when they multiply together, it becomes positive 4, bada bing, bada boom. Look at how nice this is. Then you factored it, and now what you can do is take those factors here and set them equal to 0, right? X squared minus 1 is equal to 0, and now you solve it. So bring the 4 on over to the right-hand side. So it's going to be x squared is going to be equal to 4. You square root both sides, and remember, when you take the square root of something, which is square root of 4 is going to be 2, but you always have to give the plus minus answer, because technically, positive 2 times positive 2 would have given you a positive 4, and negative 2 times a negative 2 would have also given you a positive 4, okay? So you got to always remember that when you're taking the square root of something. So this is x squared is equal to 1. Again, square root of both sides. So x is going to be equal to plus minus 1, because the square root of 1 is going to be 1. And anytime you take the square root, it's going to be both plus and minus. So these are the values. You have 4 restrictions. And that's it. So you could say something like all. There's no two ways in all, right? All real. What? Real starts with R. Come on, Andrew. All real numbers, except when x is going to be equal to, we'll do it in order, negative 2, negative 1, 1, and 2. So that's the domain. If you have to write in a certain notation, write interval notation, domain notation, whatever you have to do, number line, you can handle that from there. That shouldn't be a big deal. You can also use the calculator to kind of help you out on this. You can plug in the function on the top. You could do x squared plus 4x minus 3. Now I know I already solved the problem, but you might want to know multiple ways to look at a problem. Something might click better. So x raised to the fourth minus then 5x squared. Hopefully I'm plugging this in right as I'm talking. Let me just make sure. Everything looks good, I think. Okay, now hit graph. Wow, what the? That got a little funky, huh? So if you notice, there's a lot of things happening, right? There's really a lot of things happening, especially around negative 2, negative 1, 1, and 2. Okay, there's a lot of things happening. Now, it might not be totally clear when you look at it that way. So instead, what you can do is you can use your table. Oh, wait a minute, what's going on here, right? When x is -2, the calculator is like, what in the world are you doing to me? When x is -1, the calculator is like, what in the world are you doing to me? When x is 1, the calculator is saying, what in the world are you doing to me? And when x is going to be +2, it's saying, come on now. Right? So all these values, -1, -2, 1, and 2, do not produce any real value here. It's an error. Calculator can't interpret it because you can't divide by 0. And these are the values. When you plug it into this function, it's going to produce an overall value of 0. Okay. I think I killed this problem. What do you think? Just in terms of like over-explaining it, which I generally tend to do most of the time. Anyway, I do hope this helps. If it does, if you can like, subscribe, maybe you'd tell some of your classmates, that'd be an awesome way to help us out. And if you like what you see, we have a whole channel dedicated to helping you. We have thousands of problems out there, not only in math, but physics and chemistry as well. And that's the best way to do well on your exams, is to do actual problems. So if you get stuck on some of them, check out our video. We'll help you through. Check out the channel because I really think you're going to love it. Take care.